we asked you guys, what are the big topics for you? And interestingly, climate change came out, actually, I think #1, which is very interesting. So I want to ask you this. Around the panel, can you see climate change happening now? Brett Hudson.
Yes, I think we all can accept that climate change is having an impact on our lives.
Give us an example of what climate change is happening now.
Well, I think, I'll tell you what, over this election, with all the storms we've had to live through that have knocked down our signs left, right and centre, it might seem a bit flippant, but I tell you what, it seems a lot worse than a few years ago.
Can you see climate change happening now?
Yeah, Narranga Gorge, the hurricanes you're getting in the middle, in the east now, and sort of in the States. Just storms.
Can you see climate change happening now, Golriz?
Yes, we are the first generation to truly experience climate change and the last generation to be able to stop it.
What about you, Damian? Can we see climate change happening now?
Yeah, we're seeing more extreme weather events. We're seeing flooding we haven't seen before. It's just we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it now.
So what do you make of what the Nats are doing? Are they doing enough?
No, not even near enough.
What? You're saying yes?
Well, actually, look at what we can do, Wallace. The three main areas of emissions in New Zealand are energy usage, transportation, and mainly farming and agriculture. So we've got a 90% renewables target for energy by 2025. We're incentivising the use of electric vehicles, and most importantly of all, we're investing in science and research, such as the Global Research Alliance for Greenhouse Gas Emissions.
And yet the emissions keep going up. The UK's net emissions fell by 30% from 1990 to 2015. New Zealand's rocketing by 64%.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Brett, where are we going wrong?
Well, if you look at the stock take of emissions, Wallace, they've grown by an amount between 1990 and 2005, but the Ministry for the Environment shows they're pretty stable for the decade since then.
Yeah, Wallace, since you bring up the UK, you know, Margaret Thatcher was responsible for making sure that when that act went through the UK, only 3 people voted against it. So all the parties, they got consensus. How are we ever going to get consensus here when you've got the National Party for a few votes building a wall between country and city now, and that it's going to put the consensus we need.
Stop putting a water tax on them then, Greg.
You're
driving the divide, Greg.
It is going to put the consensus we need back about 10 years
stop driving
now
a wedge
for a
between
few
them, Greg.
votes that we're going to get anyway.
All right, before I go
Crazy.
to Golriz, the emissions trading scheme, you're going to stick with it? You're going to stick with the emissions trading scheme?
And make it work. And make it work.
And make it work, so it's failed before.
Yeah,
Golriz, what about you? Are you going to stick with the emissions trading scheme?
No, absolutely not. It's failed. We give $1.4 billion a year to other countries to invest in modernising their economies, to making their economies more efficient. We want to invest that back here. The only way to stop pollution is by taxing polluters.
All right, so you both don't agree. All right, so you want to ditch the emissions trading scheme?
Absolutely.
You want to keep it. How are the Greens and Labour...
make it work.
How are the Greens and Labour going to sort of work together on that?
Right. So stop this stupid business of buying them from Russia. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's not working. What you've got to do is make it work for New Zealand and make it work for our grandkids, because that's not buying them from Russia and the Ukraine.
Actually,
ain't making it work.
All right, working for our grandkids. What you don't do is what the Greens do: anti-science, stop production. That's their answer. We're the ones that turn and face the problem through investment in science and research to actually tackle the emissions, such as the genetically modified ryegrass from a New Zealand company that will reduce emissions from cows. That's fixing the problem.
All right, a quick response, Golriz, and I'll go on Damian.
It's all in the results. 20% is how much our pollution's gone up under national. We want to stop that. What's exciting is that Labour and the Greens have consensus over this being a crisis.
We've got to bring you in a future. What do you make about this issue, the climate change?
So it's one of our top 3. So we've got 3 things we're campaigning on, and this future-proofing environment is one of our things we're campaigning on because we need to do something about it. And it's interesting, you see National Labour bickering about this, and what it is there's been no leadership from either party, not just National, but Labour beforehand on this issue. They've done nothing about it for the past 20 years.
So
we need to take action now.
So fewer cows? How is it going to work? Fewer cows only not a future?
We need to set a target, 2050 carbon neutral. We need to appoint a climate change commission. We need to start setting policy to get us there. We need to start actually making progress, reporting on it, and it has to be cross-party. We can't have this bickering. This bickering is not getting us
the worst thing about Wallace? The worst thing, actually, there is some good stuff happening in farming, you know, some good stuff happening. But the trouble is now, by politicising this the way these guys have this week or this month, it means that actually the really sensible stuff we're not going to hear about.
We're not the ones taxing the farmers.
Hang on, Brett, let's go to Charlotte.
Wallace, I'm with Lisa McLaren from Generation Zero. Lisa, everyone does care about climate change, but what are the actual things that we can do as you know, the average New Zealander?
Well, there are plenty of things that you can do to reduce your own emissions, but One thing that I might be a little bit biased in is that we've got this campaign called the Zero Carbon Act, and what we want to do is create a framework which we've developed and get it passed through Parliament. And so we're calling on all New Zealanders to talk to their local MPs, get involved, and say you want a Zero Carbon Act or something similar to be passed through by the next New Zealand Parliament. We need a cross-party consensus on this. We can't have this sort of political squabbling that we've just seen. We need action now. So signing our petition at zerocarbonact.nz I think is one of the best ways that people can do something, now.
Okay, if I sign the petition though, it kind of just feels like signing a petition. Is there anything else I can do? Should I stop, using plastic bags? Should I stop using fly spray? I don't know.
There's a ton of little things you can do in terms of reducing your own electricity, driving less, watching how much meat you eat because of the emissions associated with that. However, we need something bigger than this. We need a whole of country approach, a whole of society approach. We need farmers involved, we need business involved, and people are calling out for this long-term certainty, and that's what the Zero Carbon Act is there to provide for people. So I just think,
right.
If you do anything, it's join on board our campaign.
Awesome.
Pretty good. Pretty good. What about top for you? What about top?
Oh, Jess, what do you think? What does top think about climate change?
We think it's terrifying. We think that my children and their children are going to be thoroughly cross with this generation for our inaction. We have a chance to do something about it, and these guys are just failing us. It's pathetic.
These guys, as in the current government?
Yeah.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.